This is You've Already Been Hacked, recorded on
5 September 2025. Welcome back to You've Already Been Hacked. This week, well, we're going to be talking about something that it's been around for a little while, Cowboy. Top story, a Citrix zero-day vulnerability exploited since May, leaving global entities exposed. Since May, a 0-day. Okay, well,
I'm laughing and crying at the same time.
yeah, a lot of crying, a lot of pain. I'm glad I don't. I haven't had really any direct exposure to Citrix in a long time, so good for me. But I know it's still widely used, so bad for everybody else. CVE 2025-6543 is a remote code execution vulnerability in the Citrix NetScaler ADC and gateway applications. Threat actors have been using this to exploit since May, and it is used to bypass authentication and deploy web shells. It does credential harvesting and allows for lateral movement tools. The exploit was discovered only recently, meaning many organizations may still be compromised without knowing it. So if you use Citrix, listen up. It matters because Citrix appliances sit at the edge of your enterprise network, often exposed to the internet and trusted internally. It is the open window or the big giant gaping hole, whatever you prefer. This exploit long dwell time means attackers could have pivoted deep inside your networks already, exfiltrated sensitive data, and potentially established persistent access. This is not just a patch and move on situation at this point. It is a full-blown incident response scenario. Have fun with that. What should you be doing right now if you have Citrix on your network? Well, let's start with yes, patch immediately, and then verify your firmware integrity on any device on your network, potentially. Conduct forensic analysis of the NetScaler logs and session data going back to May, if you even keep your logs that long, and look for signs of web shell deployment, credential dumping, or unusual outbound traffic. If you haven't been watching your network and haven't seen it by now, best of luck to you. Consider rotating credentials and implementing stricter segmentation around Citrix appliances. Cowboy, like quarter of a year? That's a long time for someone to have access.
And you hit the nail on the head when you said we're beyond patching. It is a full-blown incident response. Like the one of the first thing a good hacker does is maintain their persistence, right? I'm safe, open new backdoors, right? That way, if I'm found and kicked out, I can get right back in. So yes, full-blown incident response. You need to do more than just patch, more than really look at those logs, right? You need to go across your system and start looking and checking.
It's now across your entire network. It's not just the Citrix appliance. And if anyone is just going to look at their Citrix appliance and disconnect it, like bravo, probably a good idea. Like disconnect it from the internet, figure out what's going on. But yeah, you quarter of a year. I mean, they could be everywhere in your network. From the janitor's internet terminal when he's on his break, if that's even a thing still, because everybody's got cell phones and iPads and all that sort of stuff, all the way up to the CEO's secretary or the CEO themselves. Every single device on your network could be compromised with that much time. Every single one. That's just, yeah. Get your incident response team together if you haven't done anything yet.
Yeah, you got to identify that suspicious traffic moving out of your network. It's just not about what's coming in, just not about what's happening. It's also about what's leaving. Sometimes what's leaving is the indicator, right? And
sometimes
you got to be able to see that. So,
but if it's
all three things matter.
If it's been leaving through a giant gaping hole for the past quarter of the year, would you even notice?
Right. That's why I love people who baseline their system after it's been up for years and years. Like you just made the bad guy part of the baseline.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Your base, they may be your baseline now. The noise of your network. They may just be the noise of your network now. Oh my, that's so terrible. Well, if it wasn't bad enough, here's another 0-day for you. WhatsApp 0-day exploit targets iOS and Mac OS users. So only what, a billion people probably at this point with iOS? Billion devices, easy? A vulnerability in WhatsApp's URL handling allowed attackers to craft malicious links that triggered content parsing without user interaction. When chained with Apple's recent 0 days, including CVE 2025-44-211, attackers could achieve full device compromise, especially on devices with outdated security patches. So why does this matter? Well, zero-click exploits like this are rare and dangerous. They bypass user awareness and traditional phishing defenses. WhatsApp is used by billions, including executives, journalists, and government officials, making it a prime target for surveillance and espionage. So what should you be doing right now as a user of WhatsApp if it's on your device, macOS or iOS? Well, update WhatsApp and iOS and macOS immediately. Disable link previews and auto-download features in your messaging apps, and for high-risk users, and you should know who you are if you're a high-risk user, consider using hardened messaging platforms like Signal with sandboxed environments. Monitor for signs of device compromise, battery drain, unusual network activity, or app behavior. Yay. Just so much yay.
We just talked about WhatsApp from our DEF CON show.
Oh, that's right. We did just talk about WhatsApp from the DEF CON show. That's right. This exploit, while is rare, it makes me think of, and it's not the same. So anyone that wants to just suddenly, light up comments, it feels like cross-site scripting, sorta, in the manner like, do you remember when we used to make? I mean, I guess they still do it. It's just not, really fallen for too much these days, I think. But we're like, you could have an iframe inside of a web page, but the iframe was literally 1 pixel or even invisible, and that would kick off something automatically in the background.
Yes, the you just mouse over it and it goes.
Not even mouse, so like it just loads, right? It would just load.
Right.
It would auto, and you would never even know. That's what it feels like. It's not the same. But it's that type of, the user doesn't even know that it's occurring. And those silent attacks, super problematic, right? Because the user may just be doing what they're doing. And if they have some of this stuff turned on, like auto download or link preview, and this is just hitting it, like that's terrible. It's just,
and the average user is not monitoring their outbound traffic from their phone, from their iPhone, right?
Is anybody?
So, yeah, I will admit I am not, except for when I check my network traffic and my phone connected to my Wi-Fi, right? But outside of that, I'm not specifically looking for it. And so, yeah, like zero-click exploits, nasty things. And, let's not hate on WhatsApp too hard. 0 days are called that for a reason. They didn't know, nobody knew, but that's what makes them dangerous. So hopefully WhatsApp is getting after it.
Yeah, I'm not. This is not very much like this. Not a hit on Citrix in the previous story, right? A 0 day is a 0 day.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it went undetected for so long in the previous story, that's the problem. So the question of that is why. But in this, again, another 0 day, WhatsApp, it's not, I don't want to say it's not their fault, because it is, because they wrote the code that allowed for the 0 days, so they should have done more testing to have a secure, viable product instead of not. But okay, got off my soapbox. The fact that there was a 0 day out there that no one knew about, that's problematic, but it's not necessarily like, okay, now that you know, you have to do what you have to do, right? So cool, got it.
Yeah, and I want to pull out my soapbox for a second, because I kind of spun myself on that. This is why in the security world, the good security people say assume breach. Okay, we assume breach. You give an attacker enough time, enough compute power, they will get in. Anyone who's trying to sell you on this perfect, we keep everything out, just say thank you and move on and hang up, because they are full of doo-doo. Okay. A good security person understands you assume breach. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And that's how you need to approach cybersecurity.
That's why zero trust as a framework is important. And
Right.
I used to advocate when I taught cybersecurity risk management at American University. I used to advocate that risk management does not mean that you are going to eliminate all and every risk. It means you are prioritizing what risks you're willing to accept against what things you are not willing to accept. And in these cases, right, corporate might have a risk management strategy for their comms apps like WhatsApp, but Joe Person's using it to get work done. They're using it to talk to their family and their friends and, like, you know, just whatever. Like, that's not gonna, that some people, depending on where you are in the world, WhatsApp is used as like the primary platform to do like just about everything. Commerce, right? Like they're not looking at it from that perspective, and nor not. I'm not even. I'll go so far. Nor should they be, right? This is definitely on the software stack side that needs to be addressed, especially with something that's widely deployed to the general population.
Right.
Well, not a
Do we
0
beat
day.
that horse?
No, that horse is pretty dead. I think.
Take that
for this week.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about something similar next week.
I'm sure we will. Okay, well, this is not a 0 day, but Farmers Insurance had a breach that impacted over 1 million customers. Farmers Insurance confirmed a breach that exposed customer data, including names, addresses, policy numbers, and in some cases, partial social security numbers. And by partial, I'm going to put my little finger quotes up because, sure, it's never the full social security number, right? Sarcasm included. The breach appears to stem from a third-party integration vulnerability, and attackers may already be using the data for phishing and synthetic identity fraud. So this matters because insurance data is highly sensitive. It's used to validate your identity, assess risk, and determine eligibility for services. And this breach could lead to long-tail fraud, including fake claims, account takeovers, and targeted phishing. If you are a Farmers Insurance branch customer, and you were definitely one that was notified, one of those million, you should be looking to see if they're offering you any credit monitoring, because we all need a little more credit monitoring. Review any integrations that you have, and if you're at Farmers Branch, you should be looking at all of your third-party integrations. Implement anomaly detection for fraudulent claims and account behavior, and that goes both for the insurer and the insuree at this point. And educate your users, this is going to the company, on phishing tactics that may leverage breached data. How much of that do you think is actually going to happen, Cowboy?
Minimal.
I think we're gonna get some more credit monitoring. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Like whoop-de-doo, thanks. But I mean, by then it's almost too late, right? Not quite, but you are on the back end of the issue here. So, I mean, we said it before. Third party, these larger companies have the money and manpower to not just blindly trust third party anything connecting in and out of their network, especially if it deals with PII or sensitive information. Like, you just got to take, and sometimes you can take all the steps in the world and it still happens, right?
Yeah.
But I think overall, in general, we, as in the corporate conglomerate, need to step up and do more to protect ourselves when we need to bring in these third-party folks. They owe it to the customers. They owe it to the people they service. There should be,
you know, again, the trade-off here is, yes, there should be some punitive to the company, but at the same time, you start attacking the companies and then they go out of business and, you know, infrastructure goes away. So I understand balance, but at the same time, this reeks of, like, okay, we are entrusting personally identifiable information with these companies because we have to, right? Because that's the business model that we collectively have accepted and normalized to get services. And until either a new model comes along or better security, this is what we have to deal with, and it's just simply unacceptable, right? This
And
is
maybe I'm
why
being
I
pessimistic.
advocate. Well,
Go-
so this is an example of something that you can't do. But this is an example of why I advocate self-hosting and not giving your information to anybody unless you absolutely have to. An insurance company, unfortunately, is one of those right now that we collectively have all agreed, social contract-wise, we have to give them information. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, and again, maybe I'm being pessimistic, but like, I don't know. I'm envisioning the boardroom meeting, and some 400th senior vice president is like, oh, we're going to bring in third party XYZ to integrate all these things, and it's going to be great, right? And maybe not
Save
the
us money.
CEO, but yeah, somebody high up was like, sounds good, make it happen. And that's the extent of of the protection and the questions of the cybersecurity around
Yeah.
how it interfaces and what they're doing and everything else. And again, hopefully they did better than that, but I have a hard time feeling good that that's what happened. And that's why we're saying, like, hey, if you're listening to us and you know some of those higher ups, please have the conversation. Have the, hopefully you have the protective ability to have that conversation with your leadership and be like, hey, we need to spend more time and ask the hard questions around these third parties that have access to our sensitive information of our customers.
Yeah, I mean, third-party risk management is something that should be done right off the gate, and hopefully that was done. I would assume at a place as large as Farmers it was, right? But that shouldn't, and this is just foot and mouth for our corporate overlords as well here, Cowboy, but TPRM should not be a one-time thing, right? It should be continuous, unfortunately, because whatever their risks are at that snapshot in time are not what their risks could be 3, 6, 9, 12 months down the road.
Yeah. They might have a Citrix machines in their network, right? And there's no
Right.
reason you can't be like, hey, we just saw Citrix, a big vulnerability that got discovered. Have you patched your systems? Right? Continuous monitoring isn't just for your own network. It's for supply chain. It's for third party. It's for all of it.
Yeah, it's for all, but I'll be the advocate of I'll be on defense here, right? But how do you expect me to continuously monitor all of it? I can't do that. I'm not that big. I don't have that type of resource. That's the argument in return. And in some cases, I accept that as valid, but in my opinion, you have to then accept that risk. You have to knowingly and consciously accept that risk as a business.
Sure. For farmers, I'm willing to bet they got the people, money, manpower to do that. And you're right. If not, you have to at least understand and make sure your customers are aware. Yeah. Again, nobody reads the accept this to watch your TV, right? But at least make the information available that says, here's the third parties we use. Here's the risk we accept, and you're a part of that risk by accepting, and kumbaya.
Yeah, I mean, if it's into terms like that, then shame on the consumer for not reading the terms, which I'm sure everyone reads the terms and conditions for everything they sign up for.
Every letter.
I used to do a question like that as part of my course. And in all the years that I taught, I had one student say that they literally read their end user license agreements, their terms and conditions, one. And we're talking going on, it was several hundred students by the time I was done that I had taught. So that should just tell you how frequently people do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We got some new malware.
Hooray! Good. The old stuff's boring.
A new malware campaign dubbed Sindoor Dropper is targeting Linux users via spear phishing emails that contain malicious .desktop files. So Windows users, you might be safe. Mac users, you might be safe. But Linux friends, this one's for you. These files mimic legitimate shortcuts, but execute multi-stage payloads that include credential stealers and remote access Trojans. This matters because Linux targeting is evolving. As more and more users move to alternative operating systems, Linux is now becoming a target that hackers and exploiters are now starting to focus and develop more frequently for. It used to be a bastion of it wasn't worth the time because there wasn't enough there to go after, except on the high end, on the server side. But now on the client side, that paradigm is shifting a bit. It's not like the Linux desktop is going to take over everything yet, but Microsoft sure is making a compelling case on why people should stop using Windows. That's for another discussion. But the campaign showed attackers are moving beyond brute force SSH and exploiting users' trust via the GUI elements. It's a wake-up call for Linux admins who assume their systems are inherently safer. So what could or should you be doing right now with this? Disable auto execution of .desktop files and enforce MIME type validation. Train your users to avoid opening shortcuts from untrusted sources. Deploy EDR solutions that support Linux and monitoring for unusual process behavior, and use AppArmor or SE Linux to sandbox user applications. Now, SE Linux is great, but it is a pain to use with a lot of stuff. Another thing that you could look at, in my opinion, is also immutable operating systems. Like there's a version of Fedora, and I cannot remember the actual version name of it, that is immutable. SteamOS, for the gamers out there, is an immutable operating system. So that's good. Those are
Eli 5?
features. No, it's
Silver Blue.
I thought it was Universal Blue, but yeah, something like that. Yeah. And essentially an immutable operating system, if you don't know what it is it's hard. It's really hard to alter or change system files in an immutable operating system without a full firmware style update. Because it's all kind of like walled off. So that's something there. Now, you lose some functionality when you do that for lots of reasons, but that can also be a safety measure. Cowboy?
Yeah, so it is Silver Blue, right? That's their immutable version of Fedora system. The OS is read-only. Software is installed through Flatpaks, which are sandboxed and run independently system. So a great thing. I really enjoyed this though. So this campaign is linked to APT36 that you said. It is a Pakistani linked APT, first for us on the show at least, aka Transparent Tribe.
Wow, I've not heard of them before.
Yeah, they tend to target the Indian government, surprise, and a lot of stuff. But yeah, they're the ones behind this new campaign. So hey, welcome to the show, Pakistan.
Welcome to the show.
Bad guys, welcome to the cyber show, bad
welcome
guys.
Welcome to adding to You've Already Been Hacked. Yes.
That's right. We're always talking about China and Russia. It's good to mix in some other countries. Philippines have been on a few times, but yeah, welcome Pakistan. So immutable operating systems. I mean,
there's a plus minus to them. Honestly,
right,
there is.
Right. I don't know if that's the answer per se to like the home user, but for those with the skills and the things they need to safeguard maybe a little bit more than just our personal monies, I don't know.
Well, I mean, the Steam Deck uses Fedora under the hood, basically. I mean, it's not exactly, but it's similar enough. That's immutable, and that's definitely in the home, right? If you're not running Steam Deck and you're a gamer, there's Bazite OS, which definitely is a fork of Fedora Silverblue. So it's out there. It definitely is at the consumer grade level. it's not as widely prolific as other operating systems, obviously, but yeah. But it is a trade-off, right? If you're looking for flexibility, it is not the operating system for you. If you're looking for, I'll again do my finger quotes of stability. It's probably more stable because it's less likely to be dorked by either user error or something else, because of the way that it's read-only, right? So that's the trade-off.
Yeah. So, but there are Yara rules out there to help defend against this. So look up your yet another recursive rule set to get after this malware campaign.
Yeah. And Cowboy, this last story is for you since you like to end on a high note.
Yes.
The U.S. government seizes domains selling fake identity documents. The federal law enforcement in the United States seized 2 domains used to sell forged identities, including driver's license, passports, and social security cards. These sites were part of a larger underground ecosystem supporting account takeover, synthetic identity creation, and financial fraud. This matters, as we know, because fake IDs are the backbone of many cybercrime operations. They're used to bypass know your customer checks, open fraudulent accounts, and launder money. This takedown disrupted a key supply chain, but threat actors will likely pivot off of this anyway. So what should you be doing as a person that should be concerned with this? Well, strengthen identity verification with biometrics or behavioral checks. Two-factor authentication, multi-factor authentication, pass keys, all that sort of good stuff is what you can do as an individual. Monitor for synthetic identity patterns if you're an entity that cares about identity, multiple accounts with similar data, unusual transactional behavior, etc., and stay informed on law enforcement actions to anticipate threat actor migrations. This is not bad. This is good. Unfortunately, they will probably find something else and just migrate away, but hey, take the W's where we can get them, right? Even if they're small.
Take the wins, baby. Take the wins. That's right. I'm reminded of Randall Stevens, the silent partner Andy Dufresne created Shawshank Redemption back when you had to do it via mail. But yeah, that's fake IDs. They hit on a few things in our story, but I mean, I'm sure our audience think about really how much you could do with not just a fake ID, not just a fake driver's license, but if you got all the documents, right? I mean, you can do so much. In fact, mortgage title theft has become such an issue.
Yes,
that there's commercials on TV for it. I'm like, there's enough of this going on that we're advertising like prime time channels, not DirecTV channel 482. ESPN 47, right? Like
no, you're 100% right.
Stuff. Yeah. Just using the fake ID and documents. So big win. Hopefully they can have some forensics in there to help them lead maybe to some arrests and get these cyber criminals off the cyber streets. See what I did there?
Nice.
but yeah, hey, love ending with the win. 2 in a row. Wow.
2 in a row.
We're setting precedents now. See?
This we could get a 3-peat here maybe next week. We'll see.
We better email the FBI and be like, we need to win by next Friday.
Well, Cowboy, what else you got for us?
All right. Supposedly safe WhatsApp ping? Might just be a 0-click Trojan. No tap needed. Your privacy just got swiped. I'm Cyber Cowboy. Stay frosty, my friends.
And I'm the professor of CyberRisk. That's all the news for this week, and we'll talk again soon. If you like this podcast, share it with your colleagues and friends. Your support is how we are able to continue to make this content. Thank you.